There's a beautiful Japanese art called kintsugi. When a pot breaks, instead of throwing it away, they repair it with gold. The cracks don't hide, they shine. The broken part becomes the most beautiful part. Isn't that a powerful lesson for life? We all have cracks, disappointments, heartbreaks, betrayals, failures. But what defines us is not the crack itself, but how we repair it. Most of us try to hide our pain behind smiles and distractions. But healing doesn't begin when we hide. It begins when we accept that we're broken. The path to growth is not a straight line of perfection. It's a journey through acceptance, forgiveness, and transformation. When something breaks in us, a dream, a relationship, or our self-esteem, we must remind ourselves it's not the end of the story. Sometimes, life breaks us open to let the light in. Growth often hides behind pain, and strength often disguises itself as suffering. Repairing your inner cracks begins with patience. Just as a potter doesn't rush the gold to dry, you can't rush healing. Allow yourself time to feel, to reflect, and to learn. When you choose to heal, you reclaim power from the past and turn it into purpose. The cracks inside you are not your weakness, they are your wisdom. Every scar tells a story of survival, of courage, of grace. Don't despise your cracks. Decorate them with the gold of gratitude, forgiveness, and self-love. And as you heal, you'll notice something beautiful. The same cracks that once made you fragile will become the openings through which others will see your light. Because those who heal help. Those who grow guide. Acceptance is the first and most essential step to healing. Many people think healing begins when the pain ends, but in truth, it begins the moment we stop denying that we are hurting. We spend so much of our energy pretending that we are fine, smiling when our hearts are breaking, keeping ourselves busy so we don't have to feel. We wear masks to appear strong in front of others, but deep down, we know that something inside us needs attention. Acceptance is not about weakness, it's about courage. It takes strength to look within and say, yes, I am in pain. Yes, I am broken. And that's okay. Only when you stop fighting reality can you begin to transform it. Imagine a wound that you refuse to acknowledge. You keep covering it, hiding it, ignoring it. Does it heal? No. It festers, it grows, it infects. Emotional wounds are the same. Denial keeps them open. Acceptance cleanses them. When we finally face what we feel, when we accept that we are sad, angry, or lost, we begin to release the weight we've been carrying for so long. The truth is, you cannot heal from what you refuse to feel. Suppressed emotions don't disappear. They simply wait for the right moment to resurface. But once you accept them, they lose their power to control you. Acceptance does not mean that you approve of what happened. It means that you are willing to see it for what it is without judgment or resistance. It means saying, this is my reality right now, and I choose to deal with it with awareness. When you accept your pain, you stop being a victim of it. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, What is this trying to teach me? That shift in perspective is where healing begins. Life may not have gone as you planned, but perhaps it's still leading you exactly where you need to be. There is a deep peace that comes with acceptance. The storm may still rage outside, but within, you find stillness. You stop running from yourself. You stop blaming others. You stop expecting life to be perfect. Instead, you start learning from your cracks. You begin to understand that every experience, even the painful ones, shapes your growth. You realize that healing is not about fixing what's broken. It's about embracing every part of yourself, even the imperfect ones, and saying, I am enough as I am. Acceptance also opens the door to compassion. When you accept your own flaws and failures, you naturally become gentler with others. You stop judging their mistakes because you understand what it feels like to struggle. You see the humanity in yourself and in everyone else. In that way, acceptance connects you deeply to yourself, to others, and to life itself. So, if you want to begin your journey of healing, start by accepting your reality as it is. Sit with your emotions, listen to your pain, and allow it to speak. There's wisdom hidden in your wounds, but you can only uncover it through acceptance. When you stop running and start embracing, the pain that once broke you begins to transform into peace. Acceptance doesn't change your past, but it changes your relationship with it. And that's how healing truly begins, from the inside out. Your pain has a purpose. Even if it doesn't feel that way, when you're in the middle of it, most people spend their lives trying to avoid pain, thinking that comfort means happiness. But the truth is, real growth never happens inside comfort zones. Pain is not there to destroy you. It's there to awaken you. Every challenge you face, every heartbreak you endure, every disappointment you carry, they are not meaningless. They are shaping you, preparing you, refining you into a stronger, wiser, more compassionate version of yourself. Pain is life's greatest teacher, though it rarely feels like one in the moment. Think about a seed. Before it becomes a tree, it must first be buried in darkness. It cracks open, loses its form. And what once seemed like destruction is actually the beginning of life. That's what pain does to us. It breaks open the hard shells of ego, pride, and illusion that surround us. It forces us to grow roots, to reach deeper within ourselves, to find strength we never knew we had. Pain doesn't take away from you, it gives you depth. It teaches you things that joy never could. Sometimes life removes something you wanted to show you something you needed. You lose a job, and it teaches you resilience. You lose a person, and it teaches you self-worth. You lose your way, and it teaches you faith. Pain is often disguised as loss, but underneath, it's an invitation to evolve. When everything is comfortable, we don't change. But when life shakes us, we begin to ask deeper questions. Who am I? What really matters? What can I learn from this? Those questions are the seeds of wisdom, and they only grow through struggle. When you go through pain with awareness, you realize that it's not punishment, it's purification. Just as gold is refined through fire, the human heart is refined through suffering. The fire may burn, but it also removes impurities. It makes you shine. The moments that test you the most are the moments that build your inner strength. Every scar you carry tells a story of endurance and courage. You've survived everything that was meant to break you, and that means your pain has already served part of its purpose. But to truly learn from pain, you must stop running from it, sit with it, feel it. Ask what it's trying to teach you. Often, pain teaches empathy. It opens your heart to the pain of others. It teaches humility. It reminds you that life is fragile and unpredictable. And it teaches gratitude. When you finally rise again, you appreciate the little things more deeply than before. The people who smile with warmth, who listen with care, who help others selflessly, they are often the ones who have known pain and learned from it. So, when you find yourself asking, "Why me?" try changing the question to, "What is this teaching me?" Because every pain has a message. Every struggle has a reason, and every tear has wisdom behind it. You may not see it now, but someday you'll look back and realize that the pain you once cursed became the path that led you to your purpose. Pain shapes character, deepens understanding, and strengthens the soul. It's not the end of your story. It's the part where you begin to truly grow. Patience is the golden glue that holds the healing process together. In our fast-paced world, we have become so used to instant results, instant food, instant messages, instant gratification. But healing doesn't work that way. The heart doesn't obey the clock. Growth cannot be rushed. Just like a flower cannot bloom by force, the process of emotional and spiritual repair requires time, nurturing, and patience. Yet, this is exactly what most of us struggle with. When pain strikes, we want it gone immediately. We want closure, answers, relief. But real healing is slow, quiet, and deeply personal. It unfolds at its own pace, not according to our schedule. Think of a wound on your skin. I flute. You can't keep opening it up to check if it's healing. You must give it time. The body knows how to mend itself if you allow it. The same is true for the wounds of the heart. The more you try to force yourself to move on before you're ready, the more you delay your own recovery. Patience allows the pain to settle, the confusion to clear, and wisdom to emerge. It teaches you to trust the process, even when you don't see progress yet. There's a story of a farmer who planted bamboo seeds. For years, he watered them daily, yet nothing grew above the ground. Most people would have given up, thinking their efforts were wasted. But in the 5th year, the bamboo suddenly shot up, growing more than 80 feet in just a few weeks. What was happening all those years underground? The roots were growing deep and strong, preparing to hold the weight of what was to come. That's exactly what patience does for us. When you see nothing happening on the surface, life is strengthening your roots beneath it. During the waiting period, patience teaches humility. It reminds you that you're not in control of everything. You begin to see that timing matters. Not everything you desire is meant to happen right now. Some blessings require preparation. Some answers need silence. Some growth happens only after stillness. When you are patient, you learn to surrender, to stop resisting, and to allow life to unfold as it must. This surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting that everything will come together at the right time and in the right way. Patience also helps us deal with others more compassionately. When you've been through your own slow healing, you understand that everyone's journey takes time. You stop judging others for their pace. You realize that rushing someone's recovery or expecting them to change overnight is like pulling at the petals of a bud to make it bloom faster. Only damages what could have been beautiful. In patience, there is wisdom. You begin to understand that waiting isn't wasted time. It's sacred time. It's the time when your inner world rearranges itself, when your strength quietly builds, when your faith deepens. The most meaningful transformations happen not in the noise of action, but in the silence of waiting. Just as night must pass before dawn arrives, pain must pass through patience before healing can shine. So instead of asking, "How long will it take?" start saying, "As long as it takes. I will stay patient." Because patience doesn't just heal, it transforms. It turns your waiting into wisdom, your stillness into strength, and your wounds into wisdom-filled scars that tell the story of your resilience. Forgiveness repairs what anger destroys. Holding on to anger is like gripping a burning coal and expecting the other person to get burned. The truth is, the fire of resentment doesn't consume those who hurt us. It consumes us from within. Many people believe that forgiveness is about letting others off the hook, but in reality, it is about setting yourself free. It's a release, not a reward. It doesn't mean that what happened was right. It means you've decided not to let the wrong control your peace anymore. When someone hurts us deeply, our natural reaction is to hold on to the pain, to the memory, to the desire for justice. We replay the event in our minds again and again, feeding the flame of resentment. But what we fail to realize is that by doing so, we chain ourselves to the past. Every time we relive the hurt, we reopen the wound. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, but it loosens its grip on the present. It allows you to heal, to breathe again, to move forward without the burden of bitterness weighing down your heart. Forgiveness is not a single act. It's a process. It may take time, and that's okay. Sometimes the wound is too deep and the hurt too raw. But even the willingness to forgive, the simple decision to try, is the first step toward freedom. You may not be able to forget what happened, but you can choose how you relate to it. You can choose to stop letting it poison your peace. You can choose to grow from it rather than shrink because of it. There's an old story of two monks walking through a forest. They come across a woman who needs help crossing a river. One monk carries her across and continues walking. Hours later, the other monk says, "I can't believe you carried that woman. We're not supposed to touch women." The first monk smiles and replies, "I put her down hours ago, but you're still carrying her." That's how many of us live, carrying grudges and bitterness long after the moment has passed. Forgiveness is putting down that heavy load and finally walking free. When we forgive, we reclaim our energy from the past. Anger drains us, forgiveness restores us. It clears the emotional fog that keeps us trapped in negativity. It allows new joy, peace, and hope to enter our lives. In forgiving others, we also learn to forgive ourselves for the mistakes we've made, for the times we've fallen short, for the moments we couldn't do better because we didn't know better. Self-forgiveness is just as vital because healing cannot flourish in a heart filled with guilt. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. You don't have to invite everyone back into your life. It simply means you've made peace within yourself. You no longer let that memory define you or dictate your emotional state. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. It's saying, "I value my peace more than my pain." When you forgive, you rise above the story of what happened and step into the strength of what you've become through it. Ultimately, forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, a gift of freedom, clarity, and inner calm. You cannot change the past, but through forgiveness, you can change how it lives inside you. It transforms pain into wisdom and anger into understanding. When you let go, you don't lose, you actually gain space for peace, room for love, and the strength to grow beyond the hurt. Gratitude turns wounds into wisdom. When life hurts us, our first instinct is to focus on what went wrong, the loss, the disappointment, the injustice. We replay the pain over and over, asking why it happened to us. But gratitude changes the question. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" we start asking, "What did this teach me?" Gratitude doesn't erase the pain, but it gives it meaning. It allows us to see the hidden blessings within the hardship. It shifts our focus from what we lost to what we gained. Patience, perspective, strength, empathy, and understanding. Every challenge carries a gift inside it, but only a grateful heart can see it. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means acknowledging that even in imperfection, there's something to be thankful for. Sometimes gratitude is not about celebrating what happened, but appreciating what it made you become. Pain softens the heart, humbles the mind, and deepens compassion if we let it. Gratitude helps us extract the lesson from the suffering and turn it into wisdom that guides our future. Imagine walking through a storm. At first, you're angry that it's raining, that you're soaked, that you can't see the way ahead. But when the storm passes, you realize it cleans the air, nourished the ground, and even revealed the rainbow. Life's storms work the same way. Gratitude helps you look back and see that the very experience you once dreaded was the one that grew you. Without it, you wouldn't have discovered your resilience, your courage, or your faith. Gratitude also heals because it redirects your attention. The human mind can't hold on to pain and gratitude at the same time. When you focus on what's good, the intensity of what's bad begins to fade. Gratitude trains the heart to notice beauty in the smallest moments. A kind word, a new day, a quiet breath, a lesson learned. It turns ordinary experiences into blessings and painful ones into teachers. It reminds you that life, despite its ups and downs, is still a gift. Often, when people look back on their most painful seasons, they say, "It hurt, but it made me stronger. I wouldn't be who I am without it." That realization is gratitude in action. It's seeing that the pain served a purpose greater than itself. Gratitude transforms you from a victim of circumstances to a student of life. It allows you to take control of your story and to see that everything, even the suffering, has played a role in shaping the person you are becoming. Practicing gratitude daily can change how you experience life. It's not about ignoring pain, but about balancing it with appreciation. Write down things you're thankful for even the smallest ones. The people who stayed when others left, the lessons you learned from failure, the strength that came from struggle. Each note of gratitude becomes a stitch that repairs the torn fabric of the heart. Over time, those stitches form a pattern of wisdom, a reminder that nothing was wasted. Gratitude doesn't deny the presence of pain. It simply refuses to let pain have the final word. It transforms sorrow into insight and hardship into harmony. When you choose gratitude, you choose healing. You tell life, "You may have wounded me, but you also taught me." And in that moment, your wounds stop being signs of defeat. They become symbols of growth, courage, and wisdom. Self-love is your healing balm. In a world that constantly tells you to be more, do more, and achieve more, it's easy to forget that you are already enough. We chase approval, success, and validation, hoping that they will make us feel whole. But true healing begins not when someone else values you, but when you start valuing yourself. Self-love is not arrogance or selfishness. It's the deep realization that you deserve peace, kindness, and respect, even from yourself. It's about treating your own heart the way you would treat a dear friend, with patience, compassion, and care. Many people try to fill the emptiness inside by seeking love externally. They depend on others to make them feel worthy, but when that love fades or is taken away, they crumble because they were never rooted in self-acceptance. Self-love is the foundation of emotional stability. It teaches you that you don't need to be perfect to be worthy of love. You don't have to earn it. You simply have to remember that it was yours all along. You are not defined by your mistakes, your past, or your insecurities. You are defined by your ability to grow, to learn, and to rise again. Loving yourself means allowing yourself to be human. It's about forgiving yourself for the times you failed, the chances you didn't take, and the people you couldn't please. We are often our own harshest critics, replaying regrets and judging ourselves far more than we would ever judge others. But healing cannot flourish in a heart filled with self-criticism. You must learn to speak to yourself gently, to remind yourself that you are doing the best you can with what you have. Self-love means silencing the inner voice that says, "I'm not good enough," and replacing it with, "I am growing, and that's enough for today." When you truly begin to love yourself, you stop chasing what doesn't nurture your soul. You begin to set boundaries, say no when necessary, and walk away from situations that drain your peace. You no longer tolerate disrespect, not because you think you're better, but because you finally understand your worth. Self-love empowers you to choose peace over chaos, authenticity over approval, and growth over comfort. It is not about being selfish, it's about preserving your energy so you can give your best to the world from a place of wholeness. Self-love also teaches you to care for your body, mind, and spirit. It reminds you that rest is not laziness, solitude is not loneliness, and prioritizing yourself is not wrong. Taking time to nurture your needs is a sacred act of self-respect. When you fill your own cup, you have more to give to others, not out of emptiness or obligation, but out of overflow. Love that starts within radiates outward. It becomes the kind of love that heals others too, because it comes from a place of truth and abundance. The journey to self-love isn't always easy. It means unlearning years of self-doubt, breaking cycles of comparison, and accepting your imperfections as part of your beauty. But every step toward self-love is a step toward healing. It's the balm that soothes old wounds, quiets the noise of inadequacy, and fills the empty spaces with peace. When you love yourself, you stop searching for validation. You become your own source of it. You begin to realize that you were never broken, only in need of your own acceptance. And when that happens, true healing begins to blossom from within. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is one of the purest forms of strength. We live in a society that glorifies perfection, where people hide their struggles, mask their pain, and pretend to have everything figured out. We're taught that being vulnerable makes us fragile or less capable. But in truth, vulnerability is what makes us real. It's the courage to show up as you are, broken, healing, unsure, and still keep going. It's the willingness to open your heart, even when there's a chance it might get hurt. Vulnerability doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. So many people wear emotional armor, afraid to let anyone see their true selves. They smile when they're sad, they laugh when they're lonely, and they carry silent battles behind their eyes. But pretending to be strong all the time only deepens the cracks within. Healing requires honesty. When you allow yourself to feel, to cry, to admit that you're scared, to confess that you're lost, you take the first step toward emotional freedom. Vulnerability is not about collapsing into weakness. It's about standing bravely in your truth. It's saying, I'm not perfect, but I'm trying. I'm hurting, but I'm healing. That honesty creates connection with yourself and with others. When you're vulnerable, you give others permission to do the same. People don't connect through perfection, they connect through authenticity. When you share your story, your fears, your failures, your doubts, you remind others that they are not alone in theirs. You become a bridge of empathy. You start to build relationships that are real, where hearts meet instead of masks. Vulnerability breeds trust. It transforms shallow interactions into meaningful connections. There's a quiet power in saying, I don't know, I need help, or I'm not okay right now. It's the kind of courage that opens the door to healing. You can't fix what you keep hiding. You can't receive support if you keep pretending you don't need it. Vulnerability invites love and understanding into the spaces where shame once lived. It turns pain into purpose because you allow it to be seen, felt, and eventually transformed. It's also important to understand that vulnerability doesn't mean exposing yourself to everyone. It means choosing the right people, the safe spaces where you can be authentic. Not everyone deserves to see your wounds, but someone does. Whether it's a friend, a mentor, or even a page in your journal, expressing your emotions is an act of self-care. Suppressing them only makes the pain louder inside. Vulnerability also builds inner strength. It's easy to hide behind walls. It's much harder to stand in the open. When you choose honesty over image, you stop living for approval and start living with integrity. You learn that strength isn't the absence of emotion. It's the ability to face emotion and still move forward. Each time you open your heart and survive the discomfort, you grow stronger. Each time you share your truth, you heal a little more. In the end, vulnerability is not about breaking down, it's about breaking open. It's the process of letting the light reach your hidden wounds so that they can finally heal. It teaches you to embrace imperfection, to be patient with your humanness, and to trust that showing up as your authentic self is enough. True strength is not in how tightly you hold yourself together, but in how bravely you allow yourself to fall apart and rebuild again, honestly, openly, and beautifully. Transformation begins with reflection. Before we can grow into who we're meant to be, we must understand who we are and how we got here. Most of the time, we move through life reacting to situations, people, emotions, and circumstances without pausing to ask ourselves why we feel what we feel. Reflection is that sacred pause. It's the mirror that helps us see beyond our actions and into the roots of our thoughts and behaviors. Healing and transformation don't come from running away from the past. They come from looking at it with awareness and compassion. When life hurts us, it's natural to want to forget, to bury the pain under distractions, work, or new relationships. But what we ignore doesn't disappear. It hides, waiting for the right moment to return. Reflection invites us to face our inner world, to sit with our pain, instead of fleeing from it. It's asking yourself questions like, what did this experience teach me? What pattern am I repeating? What do I need to let go of? Those questions may be uncomfortable, but they open the door to deep healing. You can't change what you don't understand, and reflection gives you that understanding. Think of reflection as the bridge between your past and your growth. It helps you connect the dots to see that your heartbreak taught you empathy, your failures taught you resilience, and your mistakes taught you humility. Reflection transforms regret into revelation. It turns confusion into clarity. It helps you realize that life hasn't been punishing you, it has been preparing you. Every challenge was a lesson, and every loss was a redirection towards something greater. Reflection also builds self-awareness. It helps you see not only what happened to you, but also how you responded. It reveals your triggers, your fears, and your strengths. When you take time to observe your inner reactions, instead of just living in them, you gain control over your emotions instead of being controlled by them. This awareness is the foundation of transformation. You begin to act from consciousness rather than impulse. You stop repeating old cycles because you finally understand their origin. It's important to remember that reflection isn't about self-blame. It's not about judging yourself for what went wrong. It's about learning from it with kindness. The goal is not to look back and say, I should have done better, but rather, no, I know better. That shift in mindset is what transforms pain into wisdom. In the reflection without compassion leads to guilt, but reflection with compassion leads to growth. Taking time to reflect through journaling, meditation, silence, or even simple walks in nature gives your mind space to breathe and your heart space to heal. It's in those quiet moments that you begin to hear your inner voice again, the one that often gets drowned out by noise and chaos. That voice becomes your guide, showing you what needs to change, what needs to heal, and what needs to be released. Transformation isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to the truest version of yourself, the one buried beneath pain, fear, and doubt. Reflection clears the fog so that your light can shine again. It helps you see that everything you went through was not wasted. It was necessary for your evolution. When you reflect with honesty, you gain direction. When you reflect with love, you gain peace. And it's through that gentle awareness that real transformation takes root. Quietly, steadily, and beautifully within your soul.